saving system settings and game progress on the memory card.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Saving Progress, where we hope to learn a little bit more about our personal history with video games. I am your host, Addy, and with me today I have a guest that is a man of many different tastes. He's on his way to becoming a wine sommelier and works around wine and various other spirits for his day job, but during the evening, he finds himself filming wine reviews for his YouTube channel, and when he's not doing that, he's playing a few games here and there. So, without further ado, Docta Drake, welcome to the show. How are you, my man?
I'm great. How are you? Thanks for having me on the show.
I am doing pretty well. So we recorded right after I had dinner, so that is taken care of on my end. How about you? Anything notable happening today?
I had work today, and I also had dinner as well. But I decided to eat out. I got Chipotle.
Okay. I mean, hey, that's a solid choice on any day, if you ask me. So
yeah. And since you mentioned about how I do various spirits, I actually am sipping on a nice bourbon tonight.
Ooh, okay. Which one is it?
It's a Stag Junior. It's a very, very for the people out there who are bourbon drinkers. It is a very sought after bourbon, and it's called Stag Junior, and it's very, very rare bourbon out there.
I was gonna say, yeah, I remember it being like a harder to find one, and not only that, it's like on the higher end of like whiskey quality in general. So
yes, it runs about $60 to $65 a pop, and it's actually
that's not even that bad.
No, not at all. But it's 134 proof, if I'm or 128.6 proof, and each barrel stave changes the proof actually. So each batch is never the same.
Well, that'll definitely get you loosened up for the show. So
absolutely.
we got you a microphone yesterday. I've got my water here ready. And, quite frankly, I am itching to get this whole thing started. How about you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's rock and roll.
Perfect. Well, Drake, I'd like to use this opportunity to segue into this question that I ask every guest on the show. And I want to hear what you have to say for yourself. So, who is Drake? What can you tell us? Like, help our audience paint a picture as to who you are.
Well, Drake is a doctor, but not an actual doctor.
Right.
Just a doctor in wine and sometimes spirits, like you mentioned earlier.
That's right.
But wine is my passion, and I've been doing wine for about, I'd say, a couple years, probably in 2018 to the beginning of 2019 was when it really started. And
so you consider yourself like a wine sommelier in training, is that correct?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, right now I'm studying for various certifications. The one downside is, so the job that I do work for, I always have to worry about privatization. And with liquor laws always changing throughout the entire country, I'm studying for my certification. So essentially, if that does ever happen, I have backup and I can essentially go anywhere in the entire world and be safe.
Right. Yeah. Because once you get that training, you can apply that to pretty much anywhere. So like if you know your wine, you can know your wine in Italy or in Spain, so.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of my job. And I learn something new every day. That's also why I love it too. So,
hey man, do what you love. That's I say that as often as I can. Well, I know that you post wine reviews on your YouTube channel. However, I've seen like more often, like you're posting on Instagram. Like, is that? Am I correct in that statement?
Absolutely. And I did post on YouTube for a little bit, but it really does take a lot. Like, because you're you do these podcasts and and not just podcasts, but I mean, you do other, videos as well. And
of course,
it just takes a lot of time. And if I had to say one thing, if that's why I haven't really been active on YouTube, is time.
Yeah. No, I completely understand. I mean, as of we're recording this right now, I haven't released it, but I have a brand new video analysis about Mario Kart that I just released a couple days ago. So, if you're new to the channel, or if you're subscribed, then you hopefully saw it, but definitely check it out. I put a lot of time into that, multiple weeks. But as for you, Drake, even though you might not have like a ton of time for YouTube, I still see like that there's a ton of stuff on your Instagram. Like you're posting about wine like left and right,
Absolutely. And, if there is one thing, I have cut back actually recently, the minor bashing here, towards Instagram, but
Sure.
their algorithm sucks. And anyone who posts on Instagram or Facebook or any social media out there knows that the algorithm needs to be changed, specifically for Instagram. When somebody who has 10,000 followers and only 1,000 to maybe 2,000 people are seeing those, and not all 10,000 are seeing, there's something wrong there. And
it's like you see someone with like 1 million followers, they only got like 100,000 likes. Like where are they coming from?
Exactly. So it just needs to be reworked. I don't know if it ever will be reworked, but that's just a shot at Mark Zuckerberg.
I to be completely honest with you, I feel like that's the case with any platform. Like artists on Twitter are constantly looking for somewhere to be. Like they want people to see their artwork, and as good as it can be, it's all up to the algorithm whether it shows it to people or not. So you're pretty much at the mercy of it regardless. But the best thing you can do is post frequently, and I feel like you got that taken care of.
Absolutely. I'm actually kind of backed up too on some of my wine posts. That's the thing, is like I drink pretty much, I wouldn't say a bottle a night, but I drink about 3 to 4 bottles of wine a week, and I always pair it around food.
Sure.
Like I actually do the opposite. Most people pair the food with the wine. I actually pick the wine first, and then I pick the food of what I'm eating. So
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I do it a little bit backwards, but I actually like doing it that way. Even though I'm a foodie and I love food, the wine is more important because that's my career. And so for anybody who's going to check out my Instagram, which what is your Instagram? My Instagram is Docta Drake Does Drink. For anyone who's going to check it out, it's very detail oriented. If you read the posts and actually not just look at the picture, but actually read the post, there's a lot of information there. And anybody who you don't even have to be interested in wine. If you just read it, you can actually learn something.
Oh yeah,
about a new topic, which that's pretty much what the Instagram is meant to be.
Yeah, dude.
And I go into detail too. If you look at it, like I go from the name of the wine, the alcohol content, the clarity of the wine, what it smells like, tastes like, the body, acidity, everything. I mean, I give you my rating, I give you an overall, and I even give you a background history about the wine or about the grape, I go into a lot of detail.
And I mean, honestly, like one of the best things is seeing someone that is so passionate about their work. Once you see that on a post, and you realize, it's like, man, they put a lot of heart and soul into what they do. Like that in and of itself is an entertaining aspect to me personally. So, I'll be sure to link your Instagram down in the description of this podcast. If not, you can check out my Instagram and Twitter to have I'll be tagging Drake on any sort of posts and anything that I make about this episode. So it's at Docta Drake Does Drink, and that's DOCTA Drake. And even though you're not present on YouTube as much, the Docta is always in the house somewhere. So
absolutely.
Oh yeah. Well, I hope you've taken the time to think about a few games that have really come to inspire you over your lifetime. Ideally, these games that you've chosen have left a lasting impression. They are the ones that have the privilege of being called your favorites. So, to keep things simple, we've narrowed it down to 3 games, but no sense in not going the extra mile if the conversation deems it necessary. So, my friend, you ready to get started?
Let's rock and roll.
All right. That's what I like to hear. So, let's go ahead and let's start with the Dead Space series. So, a little bit of history with myself in Dead Space. I actually have a pretty extensive history with Dead Space, specifically the first one. It was a game that more or less defined my PlayStation gaming experience, because what had happened was I played it on my brother's Xbox 360 for a while, and then I don't think I got around to beating it on there, but after some time passed and I eventually got my PlayStation 3, I got Dead Space again, and it might have been through like the PlayStation Plus program at the time, but regardless, I got the game again, and then I finally beat it there. I played a little bit of the second one and started the third one. I don't think I ever got around to beating those two, but, enough about me. What can you tell us about Dead Space, Drake? If there's someone out there that's not really familiar with it, what can you tell us about it? Can you introduce us to it?
Absolutely. So, to start off with first, Dead Space was introduced to me by one of my buddies, Cliff. We've pretty much known each other since first grade. And in high school, he introduced it to me. And because on one hand, I'm a PC gamer. I have played some consoles in my life, like Xbox. And I actually think I even owned a PlayStation 2 as well. But I've always been a PC gamer pretty much for the past 10, 11 years. And Dead Space was one of those games that really struck me. Like, I've always been kind of not the best at games, especially when I was like younger. And so he introduced me to Dead Space because he's like, if you want to learn how to play a game, Dead Space is the game that you need to play. Because, and I'll tell you this, Dead Space is a very, very, like, I was scared, excuse my French, shitless of
I agree with you.
Of this game. Like, the different monsters that were in there, you had the necromorphs, pretty much mainly the necromorphs, which were the monsters that were pretty much around everywhere. But you also had like other ones as well. Like you had the sprawls, you had the what else were they called? I think they were called like the
But well, I mean, basically, for those of you that still don't understand, you're in space, and you're trying to escape this spaceship. And there's a lot of dead things around you, so that's why it's called Dead Space. But
yep, and
and
it's also set like 500 years after, like the current year right now. So it's set in like Dead Space 1 was set in 2508. So we're talking like almost 500 years. Pretty much all extinction level has been gone from Earth, and you're in this spaceship called the Ishimura, is what it's called. And
okay,
and you play as Isaac Clarke. Who is a BA character. He doesn't
talk in the first game, does he? Like it's pretty much like a silent protagonist kind of thing.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much all the whole game of Dead Space 1, which was also kind of like added this creepiness to it because you pretty much were playing as a character who didn't talk. And he was
it's like you're only listening to the sounds that are around you, like you're taking it in yourself instead of hearing what your character has to say about it,
Exactly. And it was always her name was Kendra Daniels. That was always the one that was talking to you the whole time.
Yeah, that's right.
And you also had a girlfriend, Nicole Brennan, who was you pretty much try to find her throughout the entirety of the game.
Well, I think it's kind of interesting that you consider this like one of your like earlier gaming experiences because considering that like Cliff was the one that showed it to you and he was the one that was like, oh, if you're going to play games, you should absolutely play this one. I think that's kind of interesting because of the gameplay within Dead Space. It's not as easy. Like it's a third-person shooter, but you're not aiming like for the head or like for the chest like how you normally would be in any other games. You're actually, your main objective with your weapon that you have is to cut off the limbs of the aliens in order to kill them. So I think that's kind of interesting that like he thought that, like if you really want to get a feel for this, you should start with this first.
I will tell you one thing. Dead Space definitely made me better at games. And I love the third person aspect. That's probably an unpopular opinion nowadays. I love third-person games, and I really love Dead Space 1. That's probably my favorite out of all of them. Dead Space 2 was good as well, but Dead Space 3, here's another bashing. I feel like, even though it says Visceral Games on that they developed it, didn't feel like Visceral Games actually developed Dead Space 3. I don't even think I finished Dead Space 3.
Really?
I think I played halfway through it, and I was disappointed with it. And I pre-ordered that game. I didn't go to any midnight release because I don't think there was really a big midnight release for it. But I remember doing an unboxing for it. I was pumped for that game because I loved the first and second one, specifically the first one.
Yeah,
and
I'm sure a lot of fans of the franchise could agree with you in that aspect. Like Dead Space 3 definitely took a pretty distinct departure from like the horror genre that the first game was known for, and then the second game was still scary, like it had its like creepy, like gory moments, but Dead Space 3 was definitely a I don't want to say like a complete departure, but it was definitely different, to say the least.
It definitely did feel different, and this is where I think EA probably put too much of their hands in the pot. And I think they had too much to say about the game. I didn't even like the fact that I had to download a separate application. I had to download Origins to play Dead Space 3, which kind of made me really upset. I wanted to play it on Steam because I played the first two on Steam. But that's EA being money whores. Excuse my French again. Yeah. But, they got to suck more money out of you,
And, I completely understand that sentiment because, EA is not the only company that does it. You have Ubisoft that has their own software that you need to download. You've got, who else?
Activision, I'm sure, is one of them. I know they're just money whores in general, but I don't know if they actually have their own application. But I remember playing, like Call of Duty. I know I'm kind of going off topic, but, when I even played Call of Duty, I remember Activision being all about money, and it was just I lost a lot of respect for Activision as well. So
yeah. Well, hey, you don't have to feel too bad about going off topic because I did say in the beginning, we narrowed it down to 3 games, but no sense in not going the extra mile. So feel free to kind of go for however whatever you have on your mind, basically. So. Yeah, it seems like you remember a lot about the game. I just want to hear, what do you have to say about, why is the game so important to you? Why do you consider it, your favorite? Is it because it was so influential, with, your gaming, play style, or, has it made you, think differently in any way? Maybe your perspective has changed after playing it, learned something new kind of thing?
I think Dead Space gave me a whole new feel for what games really should be played in third person. A lot of I really do enjoy the third person aspect of it. I'm able to see my whole character. Obviously, that game kind of has to be played in third person because your health bar is on the back of your back, and
which is a genius design.
Oh my god! As well. I'm telling you, Isaac.
The fact that there's no HUD, very little things are on screen outside of your character, but it's crazy to see how well they immersed you are using these machines within the game instead of just bringing up menus and doing all this crap with it. You know what I mean?
Pretty much, and you're able to design the suit that you want to, which is I thought was really cool as well. And that was one plus I did like in Dead Space 3. Dead Space 3, there was a lot more customization with your suit, but that's probably the only thing I liked. But it wasn't justifiable enough for me because the story wasn't actually good. I can't remember much about the story. I just remember not liking it because I definitely did not beat the game.
Right.
So. But, Dead Space as a franchise really spoke to me because it just really changed the way I looked at games and the way I played games. I just pretty much after playing Dead Space 1, I was just very more careful. I was more thoughtful because when you are attacking those necromorphs, and those things are running right at you at 125 miles an hour.
Sure.
And they're not stopping either, so you really have to it's kind of like a mind game kind of thing. And you kind of have to it's a lot of critical thinking. You have to use your head and even though it's not strategy or anything, like that aspect, but you still have to be smart about your gameplay or you might end up, being eaten by the necromorphs.
There is a little bit of strategy, I'd say. Your ammo is pretty limited most of the time, and it's your instinct whenever something is lunging at you is to just put as many rounds as you can into it. But it's one, not only do you have to aim for the limbs, you can't just shoot them in the head. Two, your ammo is relatively limited, so when you have an experience like that, and not only that, it's like you're the whole time you're wondering, I'm like man, where did these guys even come from, kind of thing.
I know.
Like the whole time you're thinking, and I believe that's like a story related element, or maybe they just admitted like in the beginning. I can't really remember all that well, but
some of them are even attached to the wall, like the big blob. It's the stuff that it's a necromorph that spits like garbage at you. Those ones just came out like they were just hanging there, and then you like turn the corner and they're like right there. Like that's where the scary part came into play in Dead Space, and that's also
they're like falling through the ceiling and shit.
Oh my god, I'm telling you, that's also why I enjoyed Dead Space 2 was the creepy side of it, especially Dead Space 1. Dead Space 2 wasn't as creepy because you kind of knew what was coming at you, but Dead Space 1 you had no idea what was coming at you. And I think that also, like, I really enjoyed that too. I enjoyed the creepiness and the goriness and like just like, oh, what's gonna happen next? Like kind of like on your toes, which was really nice. So
would you consider yourself like a horror fan then, or did that also like get introduced to you through Dead Space?
I think that definitely made me way more interested in horror. I kind of always had a thing for horror, though I can't really watch horror movies or like horror things in general by myself. As I've gotten older, I think I have, but like when I was a kid, I'd be scared. I'd be
No, I completely understand.
I'd be freaked out. I wouldn't want to go to bed. I remember one time. Does anyone remember? Do you remember Kurz the Cowardly Dog? The show?
Oh, of course, yeah.
So I remember the one episode with Eugene, and he was taken down to the puddle with I don't know, that one like creepy lady that would like take him down. He was sleeping in bed. He took like she took him down into her puddle or whatever. And I just remember being so scared of that show when I was younger. And then my sister next door to me, she said that she saw a face like come outside of her window. So that night I'm
of course.
So yeah, that night I'm watching that show, and she says she sees a face. So I'm like, keep looking back, see if I see this face. And oh man, I was like scared.
Man, crazy. I just Googled it out of curiosity, and it looks like it's something to do with like the character's called like the Queen of the Black Puddle.
That's what it is. Yeah. The Queen of the Black Puddle.
Yeah.
I can remember.
Oh man, that sounds creepy as hell. I mean,
it was.
there were like a lot of scenes that like apparently they got to a lot of people with like I don't remember the exact context, but like there's this dude like standing out in the distance like saying like, oh, return the slab.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like one of them like took a slab or something. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
That would have definitely scared me.
No.
I remember like the stupid shit in that show. Like whenever there's like a young version of Muriel, she's and she like Courage makes like mac and cheese for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like more macaroni, more cheese. Like that's the kind of stuff I remember from Courage. I don't remember being like super scared by it, but it's so funny to see like people's different perspectives on it.
Absolutely.
And like everyone remembers something different, you know what I mean?
I was also I think I can't remember, maybe I was like 7 or 8. I was young, I know that for a fact, but I was always a little scaredy cat when I was a kid. I'll admit, no shame over here.
Getting back to like the games and stuff, are you more of a fan of like horror games now? Like are there any other games within that genre that like spoke to you since you played Dead Space, or maybe even before that?
Actually, there is one. And even though it was a game I played a little bit over quarantine, so we're talking, a little under 2 years.
Okay, so relatively recent.
Yeah, and it's another game that was also, a lot of strategy, and you probably know what it is. It's Amnesia.
Is it? Okay. I was going to say it's either Amnesia or Left 4 Dead.
So Left 4 Dead, actually, I'm really glad you brought up Left 4 Dead, because Left 4 Dead was a game that me and Tyler used to play, and we used to record YouTube videos. That was actually kind of where Docta Drake formed. And
you had your own little like Let's Play channel.
We had a ton of Let's Plays.
That was fun.
Yeah, we had a ton of Let's Play videos. Honestly, the videos are still up on YouTube. You could link the YouTube channel on. You guys can check them out.
I will let that be its own little relic.
Okay.
If you want to find it, viewer, you totally can, but I want to see if you can find it for yourself. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, Left 4 Dead, like, I know you were talking about, you're like, oh, like, should I talk about Dead Space or should I talk about Left 4 Dead? But I feel like Dead Space in and of itself is like such like a unique kind of game. Like there's really not a lot that compares to it. Like the mechanics, but also like the third person horror aspect. Like most third person games, like you're talking like Resident Evil, like a couple other ones like that, they're not like super scary aside from like the remakes, which are actually kind of creepy. But most of the time that sort of stuff like veers into the action horror kind of genre, and it's like Dead Space has action in it, but it's like in the first game, like it really keeps you on your toes, and like there's very few games that can immerse you as well as they can into a world. And even though like people are like rarely saying stuff to you, you know, Isaac's certainly not saying anything, so it's like that you're in it, you know, like you're in there for real, dude.
And and you pretty much have to listen to everybody else during, and you have no say in it. You know, you pretty much just because you don't really know what the heck's going on either, honestly.
Yeah.
You know,
you're just kind of you're going.
Earth has lost its extinction, sorry, and you just wind up on this ship called Ishimura, and you just have no idea what the heck's going on, and then you just have to kind of to go with the flow. You have to have these monsters just like throwing themselves at you. So I mean, honestly, Dead Space is a very, very unique game. You hit the nail on the head with that one, and I was very glad I was able to play all three of them, even though I didn't finish the third one.
And you were talking a little bit about Amnesia. Like, what did you want to say about that?
So ultimately, like Amnesia was, I only played a little bit. Like I didn't even get to finish it really because I kind of okay. If anybody who's never played Amnesia, you have to play that game in the dark. There's no other way to play Amnesia. You can't play it in the light because it's not fun. You have to be in the dark because you want to be scared. That's the whole point of the game. And
in the dark, headphones on,
all the way up, blasting, and make sure your keyboard has a backlight so you can see the keys.
Yeah, true.
Turn the lights off, all the curtains closed, just you, your headphones, and your computer screen, and just play. Like, I think I played about 2 hours of the game, and I think I got through maybe not even a quarter of the game, and it was very strategic, and I kind of like felt like I kind of didn't understand a few parts, but that also kind of helped me understand. So like once I was able to figure it out, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So I was able to actually understand why that's supposed to be done and how it actually made me a better gamer. Even though I've only played for a little bit. So
sure.
But
and it's like in contrast to Dead Space, you know, like you can't defend yourself in any way in Amnesia.
No, because
like,
you have nothing.
You either literally run or hide or you die. That's
exactly. You and you have to find your items through the game. So like if you want light, like you have a lantern, but the problem is you have so much limited resources. You have so much time on your light. Once your light's out, you're screwed. You got to go find more light.
Yeah,
you know, or you got to find fire or something to give you more light. So yeah, I mean it's definitely it's like one of those. It's like the game like Don't Starve or something. Like it's a game that you kind of are on limited resources and you have to get through so far until you obviously I didn't get too far to the game, but I'm sure once you get into the game more, you probably are able to build up more resources. So.
I would say it's kind of hard to get far in that game just because, you know, you end up shitting your pants halfway through playing it. So
I don't even think that's why. I don't even think that's why I quit though either. I think it was because quarantine ended for me because I had to go back to work. So then I just stopped playing it. Okay. I would love to dive back into the game though, honestly. I really would.
You should.
I should.
And not that this topic is dragging on, but to wrap things up, I also want to say, like horror games are definitely like, I was not super into them in the beginning. Like I was even like terrified of like just the idea of jump scares as a kid. Like for whatever reason that got to my soul. Like I'm just like, no jump scares in any game whatsoever, even if it's not a horror game. I don't want it. And it was like that. But then nowadays, I mean, if there's one game that I had to recommend to anyone that's listening, I would say if you want a truly terrifying experience outside of like PT, because you can't get PT anymore, but that was like the best horror game you could get. If you want to get somewhat close to playing PT, you should play the game Visage. And that game is like supernatural, atmospheric, like really gets in your head. Like it's like the perfect example of how to actually like mess with your mind and make you sort of like question everything that you're doing in the game. Like it's crazy. Like you don't leave a house the entire time. Like you're pretty much stuck in your home, and the whole time you're trying to figure out this mystery, I guess, that's happening within your home. And all throughout the entire experience, you're like, there's some kind of spooky thing that's happening, whether it's like really subtle, like a door like slowly swinging open like as you pass it, or like, you know, the light bulb might like explode and like that catches you off guard. Like it's crazy. So like that game is called Visage, and
I'm gonna check that
if
out,
it's on
actually.
if it's on sale, you know, whatever it might be, by all means check it out. The intro cutscene is a little messed up, that might like throw a few people off, but the rest of the game, I'm telling you, is insane. And I haven't even beaten it, but I certainly want to get back into it at some point. It was like around Halloween, I think, whenever I actually touched on it. But you know, I definitely want to get back into it at some point.
Yeah, I might even check that game out on it. There's so many games, though. I mean, I'm just going to keep adding to the list.
Yeah.
Keep adding to the list. It's insane.
No, I know that feeling all too well. But on that note, I guess let's stop there for now and move on to talking about the next game on the list. It's a little game. I think you guys might know about it. This game is called RuneScape. And now, RuneScape...
Hang on 1 second. If you don't know RuneScape, you didn't have a childhood. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I played RuneScape back when it was browser only.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Like you had to log in.
07,
on
RuneScape 07. That was the best.
Yeah, dude. Like from my understanding, like it became an actual downloadable game back in 2016. So, you know, that just shows how long it's been for me personally. And like you said, you brought up 07. I've only ever played the 07 version of RuneScape, and I didn't get exceptionally far in it because I was a little kid and I was stupid. I couldn't figure out how to like get firewood or something.
Well, okay, so I definitely.
Well, it was like I knew obviously you got to cut down trees to get firewood, but I didn't know how to get an axe, and I was like, well, I guess I'm screwed. You know, so like, there are definitely a few things that still stand out to me, but I'll get into those in a little bit. What can you tell us about it, Drake?
So. This is going to bring back some nostalgic memories because RuneScape was the game that I sat and played for hours. I mean, let's just say this. I was in elementary school, maybe middle school, and I remember waking up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning before I had to go get on the bus to go to school and play RuneScape.
Really?
Yes. And I remember during like 2-hour delays and school closings, I would play RuneScape. It was me and my old buddy. We're not friends anymore, but we were friends like during that time, and we live on the same street. And, I'd go to his house or he'd come down here, or we would just play RuneScape from our houses. And it was like, I just remember so vividly like doing that. And it was RuneScape is just, It really did hit home with me because RuneScape is just so for anyone who doesn't know what RuneScape is, it's an MMO RPG which has kind of died off lately and hasn't really been as popular as it was like back then. Like, you know, you had World of Warcraft, which I didn't really get much into, even though I did play a little bit of World of Warcraft. I really couldn't get into it. And I got more into RuneScape than I did World of Warcraft.
And this is actually interesting because in the previous episode where I was talking with Steve, be sure to check that out if you haven't. In that episode, we actually also touched on MMOs and like how popular they were, but not only that, like they died out, but then they also like kind of came back. Yes. Like and it's
games like ESO, Elder Scrolls Online. You have games like
that's right.
You even have MOBA games that could fall into that category.
Final Fantasy 14 is a big one right now as well. People are actually super into it.
I never actually played the Final Fantasy games. I know Send Me, but I've never played any of them. So
the thing about Final Fantasy is almost well, I shouldn't say almost every single one, but like they are very distinct from each other when it comes to like gameplay. Generally speaking, like they follow like the kind of the same formula, like a team gets together and they fight the big old bad guy, but ultimately, each game is like its own experience, so to speak. And like some of them are turn-based, some of them are like real-time action. So like Final Fantasy 15 and like the Final Fantasy 7 remake, like those are
XCOMs. Those are super like that as well. Both the XCOMs,
yeah,
both RTAs. Which I actually played a little bit of XCOM. I didn't really get too much into it, but I enjoy the over the top games. Even StarCraft is like that too. Who develops, or the same people, Blizzard, who develops
those kind of games. Yeah.
I played a little bit of StarCraft too, but Diablo, I really like Diablo as well. Diablo is a really fun game.
Yeah, those two genres are like they're kind of games that like I never got into whatsoever. Like I played games like I played World of Warcraft, I played RuneScape, of course. I talked a little bit about that, but I think the big aspect about it was that it was just so overwhelming for me as a kid, and like even nowadays, like I find a hard time. Like I'm sure if I really wanted to, like I could immerse myself in like a world like that, but at the moment, I'm perfectly content with like playing through a bunch of games instead of playing one game for like years and years and years. You know, that's how I am like watching TV shows too. Like I'd rather watch like a bunch of short TV shows instead of binging, like, you know, like even with anime, like you're watching like Attack on Titan, like they have like 4 seasons, 4.5 at this point. Like I'd rather just watch like a 12 episode slice of life and then move on to something else and then just keep doing it. So I'm kind of like that. I'm kind of that way with games as well. But yeah, like going back to RuneScape, you know, you mentioned you were playing this like all the way back in like elementary school. Oh, yeah. You know, like waking up early. Like that's crazy, you know. And I know that the RuneScape Yeah, I know the RuneScape grind is real. Like people that get into it, they really get into it.
And let me tell you, that was my ultimate goal. My ultimate goal, for anyone who's played RuneScape knows Zezima, or Zezima, however you pronounced it, but he was like the guy who got 99 and everything. He was level 126. I mean, he grinded.
Yeah.
That was the true grind of RuneScape. And I just remember like wanting to be like that. I wanted to be the guy who grinded all skills to be 99. I wanted to be level 126.
Yeah.
But that was one downfall I did have. So I did become a member a little bit, but you had to pay for it, unfortunately. And I just could at the time, you know, because I was in elementary and middle school, I didn't really have a job, so I couldn't convince my parents to buy me a membership.
Yeah.
So I kind of had to play free for a little bit, and then I did get. I became friends with another guy named. I remember because his mom and him would play RuneScape. They also played WoW as well, but they bought me a membership a few times. And I remember, I actually even remember staying up at his house, and he'd introduce me to Duel World or God Wars, Duel Wars. God, can't talk today. And then like all the member quests too as well. I mean, there was just so many quests. Like you had all the normal quests, and the problem was you couldn't do any of the member quests until you did Dragon Slayer, which was like the hardest quest of all the normal quests, and you literally had to be like at least level 60 to even defeat the dragon. So that brings me to my next point, because now that they reintroduced old school RuneScape, that was back in 2007, they reintroduced it probably about a couple years ago. I've been off and on it, and that's also why I kind of picked this game as my topic, because I've been off and on it the past couple of years. I think actually last year I got back into it for about another month, and I was just grinding again, grinding, mining, and doing all the quests. But this time I was actually a member, and I was actually able to pay for it. And like, RuneScape is not fun unless you're a member. You just have to be a member to be able to play that game, because there's just so much more to the game. Yeah, I mean, you have all these.
Oh, of course.
I mean, you can do all these quests. You can do, you can attack, but even when you go into the wilderness, like there's still a certain level. Like membership just makes the game so much more fun. And if you're not a member,
it really fleshes it out.
You just shouldn't play.
That's the case with a lot of games, definitely.
Exactly. I mean, you just shouldn't play the game if you're just gonna do free to play, because this is not fun. You're not getting the full experience of it. And
but it does offer like a significant amount of the game, like whenever it is free.
Oh yeah, most certainly. I mean, you definitely do still get like a good experience, but it's just so much better when you're a member and you pay for it. I mean,
See, you're talking about membership with like RuneScape and stuff. The only thing that I ever remember, which technically is an MMO, I guess you could say, the only games that I was ever paying memberships for were things like Club Penguin.
I remember Club Penguin.
That was like I would go to the store and buy gift cards that were specifically for membership, so that you would actually take home and put into the game, and you at that point you unlock like so many other games to play, like you have like different costumes and unlockables.
I don't know if
so the membership grind, I absolutely understand, like if you want to experience a game to its fullest, you absolutely have to get that.
Absolutely. I don't even know if I remember playing Club Penguin, actually. I could be wrong. I might have played a little bit of it, but I don't ever remember going to a store to get gift cards either, so
I was super into it, so like I could talk about that realistically, but
so your Club Penguin your Club Penguin is RuneScape to me, essentially. So
maybe I don't know if I would go that far, but but do you do you remember how you discovered RuneScape? Like did someone else introduce it to you, or was this something that you just like happened to like get into?
So I'm trying to remember if I actually played RuneScape Classic, which was actually the very first RuneScape to ever be got released.
That was the one where like everyone looked like a square kind of
pretty much. It was 8-bit. I mean, you could say like Mario 8-bit, you could say that. And I can't remember if I actually did play RuneScape Classic. If I did, I was extremely young because the game came out in like 2003 and I was 7 years old. So if it wasn't RuneScape Classic, it had to have been an ad that I was probably just browsing the internet, and I just happened to see an ad and it said like RuneScape, and so I happened to click on it. It's like kind of like looking into it, and that's when my buddy also at the time he also like he was also kind of like looking at it too, because we were together in the same house, and we were kind of intrigued, and so we started playing it, and we loved it. Honestly, the rest of it was history from there. I made it like part of my life for the next like 3, 4, 5 years. Pretty much, I think I stopped playing in like, I want to say it was like probably the end of middle school. It's probably like 8th grade, maybe the start of freshman year, like 9th grade. I played it for a good 3, 4, 5 years and just grinded.
But it did stick around with you for a while.
Absolutely. And definitely. It still kind of does, honestly. If there's one game, one MMO that I really MMO RPG besides Elder Scrolls, because I really do like Elder Scrolls Online, but if there's one MMO RPG that I can always go back to, it's old school RuneScape. It's on Steam for now. It's on Steam now, free. You can download it and then you just pay for the membership. And I would go back. I'd go back in a heartbeat because I know it's always there. It's a game that I can always go back to because it's always there, and there's always going to be a community for it. Because people who played 07 RuneScape still play it today because they realize how great of a game that was. And
and I think you can still download the actual game itself. Like you don't even have to go through Steam. You can get it like directly off their website.
Oh, yeah, you can.
From my understanding,
yeah, you can. But I think they might have. Well, it's a separate website actually. So RuneScape has their website for RuneScape 3, which I will talk about in just a little bit because I did play a little bit of RuneScape 3, but I wasn't crazy about it.
Yeah.
And then there's an old school RuneScape website. That's where you download or play for, or you can even play it through the browser as well. So you can download it through like, it's called Old School Buddy, or it's RuneLite. There's a couple different applications that you can download the game through and play it through there.
Sure. And I know that like you touched on RuneScape Classic a little bit, like. That one I don't think you can play anymore. No. I think that one shut down like a couple of years ago.
I think it's crazy.
I
think it's been shut down since RuneScape 2 came out, which is now old school RuneScape. I really do think that because I don't think I ever remember seeing RuneScape Classic being re-released. I could be wrong though.
No, I don't think it's been like re-released or anything, but like the fact that the servers were around for such a long time, like it speaks volumes regarding RuneScape. And even like '07, like the fact that like there's still content coming out for it, that in and of itself is just like, even if you don't like these kind of games, you can still appreciate like the amount of like work and like passion that like these developers are putting into keeping this game alive that's been around for at least like I want to say like 16, 17 years, even maybe more than that.
I remember like, even like all the RuneScape events, like for all the holidays, Halloween, Christmas, Easter.
That's right.
Those were so much fun, honestly, and you know, and even like even the private servers, like RuneScape actually even advanced to private servers. Like anybody could have a private server of RuneScape and make it so it was modifiable. Is that a word? I don't know, but it was like you could essentially make a RuneScape game, make it a private server, and make it whatever you want, and people could play it, and you could get like really like all the rare items like that you maybe couldn't have get like if you were a member, or like you could get it for so much cheaper. Like I do remember vividly even playing like the private servers of RuneScape too, like the ones that I think I created one. I had one for a little bit, and then I would even play like a few other ones that I just find online, and I even enjoyed those as well.
And
so, yeah,
I know you talked a little bit about RuneScape 3. Like what were your thoughts on RuneScape 3 then?
You know, personally, RuneScape 3 just felt too much like World of Warcraft.
Am I mistaken? Like, is this the most recent one?
Yes.
Or are there like other ones?
No,
okay.
There's nothing after RuneScape 3. They just keep adding to RuneScape 3 essentially.
Makes sense.
I don't think there's a reason to ever create another RuneScape 4, because I don't know, you know, how many people play RuneScape 3. I assume it's probably still a lot of people, but I feel like probably more people play old school than they do RuneScape 3, because RuneScape 2 was
I believe it, yeah.
I mean, RuneScape 2 compared to RuneScape 3, the graphics may be completely different, but that is what made RuneScape 2. Like, the graphics were actually, I think the graphics were beyond their time in 2007 for RuneScape 2.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, I could kind of see that.
But I didn't really enjoy RuneScape 3 that much. It wasn't, It was just a completely different game. I mean, it was
sure.
It was different quests. You know, you made a whole new separate account for it. I remember making like a whole new email separate account for it. Like everything was different. Like you lost pretty much nothing from RuneScape 2 transferred over from RuneScape 3, if I recall, because I remember there was a completely different tutorial. It wasn't even like the basic tutorial that you went through RuneScape 2, like with the axe cutting, and then even basic cooking and basic fishing. Like you did some of those things in RuneScape 3, but like it was just completely different. Like there wasn't actually like from what I recall, there wasn't actually like an instructor, and if it was, there was one instructor and that was it. Like it was just one instructor. It wasn't like multiple instructors like it was in RuneScape 2.
Huh.
Like you remember in like RuneScape 2 the tutorial, if you do, like how there were different instructors through the different like skills.
Yeah.
For RuneScape 3, if I recall, there was only one instructor, and I can't remember his name, but he pretty much instructed you through the whole tutorial. And then I think you had to fight like some dragon that I don't even think you fought, because it just turned into bones anyway, and then you somehow magically appeared.
Then what do you do? What do you do then?
Somehow you magically appeared in lumber. What was it called? Lumber? Oh crap! What was the? I can't remember the main village. Lumbridge.
Did you look it up? Did you find out?
Yeah, I typed in Lumbee RuneScape and Lumbridge came up. I'm like, yep, Lumbridge. Lumbridge is the main place that you start in RuneScape, and God, there's just so many different places in RuneScape. It's insane.
Well, despite Lumbridge, I think you know a lot about this game. You know, you've already explained like why it's important to you. Like the thing that I want to do with you now, just so that we can close off this topic, is I want to actually hear you try and sell this game. So in case you haven't already done it, I want to hear you be able to, like give an excuse, like, well, why should our listeners play this game? Why should I play this game? The only trick behind it, though, the only catch, is that you have to do it in 10 words or less. So correct grammar is optional, but words are not. My main concern is, if you can get me to play it, get your audience to play it, that's all I want to hear. But it's got to be in 10 words or less.
Let me think about this for a second.
Sure. Yeah, you can count them out on your fingers if you have to, but I will consider it starting now.
Mining. Dragons.
Okay.
Quests. Really fun quests. Experience.
That's 5.
5. That's how many I have on my fingers too.
And you can make it a sentence too if you want to. Like, you can just be like grind to the max or something. You don't have to make it anything else.
Grinding.
Sure, that's a big one.
Long hours. That's 2 words.
All right. And you're at 8. You don't have to do 10, but if you want to go the extra mile, you can.
And
grinding, long hours.
And that's all that needs to be said. Drops my.
All right, I'll take that. Do you even remember what you said? Because I don't think I do.
No.
I remember grinding long hours, and I feel like that encapsulates the RuneScape experience pretty well.
Exactly. The fishing too. They had the fishing.
That's right. It's not an RPG unless you're fishing. That's
Absolutely.
all I can say. But yeah, on that note, let's stop there for now talking about RuneScape and move on to talking about the big one, the big kahuna, the one that if you really don't know, you're living under a rock. This one is Pokemon or whatever your parents might call it, Pokemon. I know enough about Pokemon to have a conversation about it. Like I played it as a kid, but I feel like everyone listening on this podcast has at least some experience with it. Like whether you played it yourself or you had someone else playing it. For me, it was like my brother would play it and then I would play his games. And then like if he moved on to the next generation, I would always play the one before it. So the thing about it, though, is that I never went past the Game Boy Color generation. So, of course, for those of you that know, that's Gen 1.
The best generation.
It is a good one. I played Blue, I played Yellow, and then we have a copy of Silver, but I distinctly remember my brother being like, you can't play that one. That is the good one. And I'm like, oh, okay. And we also actually had the Pokemon trading card game for Game Boy Color, which is apparently pretty hard to come by. Like that's definitely not something that you were able to like find nowadays. I mean, like back then, of course, all the games were available, but so it's safe to say that Pokemon is pretty much unavoidable if you're into video games. But what can you tell us about it, Drake? I feel like there's a lot to be said.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I could talk all day. I could write a novel on Pokemon.
Well, that's why you're here, my man. I want to hear it.
I remember, so vividly playing this on my original Game Boy and just having the time of my life. Like, I just loved Pokemon. Like, I still love Pokemon to this day. Like, I'm 26 years old. I don't care if I say how old I am, and I still play Pokemon, and I still play it proudly. And I even had a YouTube channel. My very first, I mentioned the YouTube channel earlier, but
yeah,
the very first game series was Pokemon Red, and that's because that was the very first game I think I ever played as a child. Because I used to have I had a SNES, and I remember playing A Link to the Past. I remember playing Super Mario Brothers. I remember playing Killer Instinct. But I'm almost positive that Pokemon Red was the very first game I ever played, and just what a great. I mean,
what a ride! Since then,
yeah, because you have to realize. I mean, when Pokemon was actually founded or released was pretty much around the time that I was born, which was in 1996.
Yeah.
So think about it. I didn't get to play this until 2003, 2004, or even before that.
Yeah,
maybe.
you gotta get some kind of motor skills, to be able to understand what's going on at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not all fit and born to be playing games at 2 years old, but
yeah.
some.
I mean, maybe I was. I'm the ultimate gamer. I'm the pinnacle of all of them, but. No, I'm kidding. But, I mean, do you remember, of course this was such a long time ago, but do you have an inkling perhaps of how you discovered it? Was this something that your parents had at the house and you just happened to play it, or what happened? Did you, were you just playing it because a friend gave it to you? What happened?
The one thing I can remember is that it was my older sister, because I do have an older sister that is about that's 7 years older than me.
Okay.
And I'm almost positive. I don't think she actually had Pokemon Red, but I do remember I remember mom and dad buying her a Game Boy, and I wanted one because I wanted everything my older sister wanted. So I was able to get one too. And then so I was able to pick a game, and that's how I picked Pokemon Red. And I don't remember being in the GameStop or anything, but I do remember picking. I do remember picking a Game Boy because my sister had a Game Boy and I wanted it too. So,
gotcha.
A lot of memories.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I mean, I'm a little brother too. So I know how it is. You always want what the older sibling
Absolutely.
has.
Always
and
is. That's how it is.
For me, it was just hand-me-downs. I never really had a console of my own until around, I think when the Wii came out, my parents got me one, but everything until then was hand-me-downs for me. So, once my brother got a DS, I got the Game Boy. Once I got the DS, he had the N64.
Oh, the N64.
It just kind of, yeah, dude. It just kind of went on from there, really. But yeah, there's just so much to cover when it comes to Pokemon, and
I can write a novel about it.
You mentioned that you're still a fan nowadays. Is there a notable experience recently that you've had, something you want to get into?
Yeah.
Why is Pokemon so important to you?
So, I'm still an active gamer. Not so much on PC I would like to be, but on my Nintendo Switch. And if anybody who plays Nintendo Switch here knows that Diamond and Pearl just got recently remaked.
That's right.
Remaked about a couple months ago. And I'm going to be flat out honest. I had no idea that Diamond and Pearl were being remaked. How I found that, because so here's the thing. Ever since I got into wine, I've really been kind of out of the loop with the whole gaming news and what's going on in games, because I've just been so focused on my career that I just put game news aside. I used to be so up on it. I used to know exactly when the game would come out. I'd be there for the midnight release, or I'd be there to get the game. But over the past couple of years, I've just been so out of the loop with it. And so how I found out that Diamond and Pearl were being remaked is over this past holiday season, I had to work at 2 stores for my job. And one of the employees there we were talking about Pokemon, and I'm like, oh yeah, Diamond and Pearl, Diamond. I remember playing that on my DS, and that has to be one of my favorite generations. I remember everything about it. I love
someone else broke it to you.
Pretty
basically.
much, yeah. He was like, oh yeah, so Diamond and Pearl being remade. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, it's being released next week. I'm like, what? I had to as soon as I left as soon as I got off of work, I got onto my Switch and I'm like, okay, where is this? I went to the Nintendo shop, and I think it was already released by then, because I think the game got released on November 18th, and I think it was November 19th or 20th, and
it was recent.
Yeah,
it was recent. Yeah.
And
I mean, you can still pre-order stuff, so maybe you did.
No, I didn't pre-order it though, because I'm almost. I think actually what happened was I think we were having the conversation after the game was already released, or maybe it was like a couple
okay.
days before the game was released. I can't remember exactly.
I see.
But I just remember I wasn't able to pre-order. I know that, but I know as soon as I thought he was blowing smoke up my butt, and I'm like, no, you're lying, man. There's no way they're remaking, because I've been waiting for a remake on Diamond and Pearl for a long time, and I'm just so glad it came to the Switch, because Diamond and that has to be one of my favorite generations.
I've got two other friends that I'm planning on having on the podcast. You know, without a doubt, they're going to talk about Pokemon, and even they would say like Diamond and Pearl were their favorite games. It seems like it was just one of the better ones to come out, like if not the best.
I remember like even taking my DS to like school and playing like during recess, and I just
I mean, that's classic.
It is classic.
You know, bring the DS out to the playground.
On the blacktop.
But,
oh man, and so pretty much like going back to the remakes of Diamond and Pearl. I ended up buying Brilliant Diamond because even though I actually bought Diamond 2 when it first came out, and I always was a big fan, more of a fan of Dialga than I was Palkia. And that's how I like pick my games around Pokemon is I look for the legendary. Like, which legendary am I going to get? Which one looks cooler? Which one looks better? Like, which one is going to... really, I guess I was going more for looks than I was going the actual skill set because...
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would agree with you on that sentiment.
Absolutely.
You know, especially growing up, it's like, oh, I want the really cool looking one. I don't want the lame one.
Heck
why not?
I remember playing Pokemon Emerald, and I'm like, Pokemon Emerald specifically because I was like, Ruby and Sapphire, like Groudon's cool, Kyogre's cool, but Rayquaza has to be my favorite, like one of my favorite legendaries, if not my favorite legendary. He's top 5, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's like just. But going back to Diamond and Pearl, I was so excited that I played Brilliant Diamond a lot. Like I felt there was definitely like a nostalgia coming back, and I'm like, oh my god, like I forgot how great this game was. Like I had so much.
Like where is this been?
I'm telling you, I had so much fun playing this game, and I actually took a break from it. I think. Where I'm at is I have to defeat the Elite Four.
Oh, okay.
And the reason being is actually I was waiting to trade my Kadabra because here's one downside I will tell about Pokemon is there are some Pokemon that you have to trade to evolve. I think now that we have Pokemon on different platforms now. We have it on the Switch, we have it on the DS, we have it on this DS, we have it on the 3DS, we have it on we have it on all these other platforms. I think they should get rid of the whole trading aspect and just have the Pokemon evolve at a certain level. I could understand like back in the day, you have to trade it to get this like kind of Pokemon. Yeah, like the rarity form of it. But I feel like Pokemon has been out for 26 years now. At this point, like they probably should do away with the whole trading thing and
interesting.
And just let the Pokemon evolve like it should. Like I think I even have a Haunter that needs to evolve a new Gengar, but you have to trade it to be able to evolve it to a Gengar. So
I had no idea that was a thing.
I actually I wanted to trade with Lauren actually. I wanted to trade my Kadabra and my Haunter because she actually had a couple Pokemon to trade too, and we were gonna do an exchange, an even trade.
So and not to get like too off topic or anything, but I want to throw some questions at you now because like of course like Pokemon is such like an expansive universe. Like there are questions that people are bound to ask you, like being a Pokemon fan. Like you already said Diamond and Pearl is probably your favorite games like of that of the series.
Most certainly. If not, it's like top 2.
Would you also consider that like your favorite generation then?
If it's not Generation 4, then it's Generation 3.
Okay, because you mentioned like you're like, oh yeah, Gen 1 is the best one, but I wanted to see like where you went with that.
So I mentioned Gen 1 is the best one in its own way, and the reason being because it's the first 151 Pokemon. Without Gen 1, you wouldn't have Pokemon. So that's why I say it's the best one in its own retrospective. But Gen 4 was the most fun, and I thought honestly, I actually think it even had the best starters.
So actually. it's cool that you mentioned starters, because my next question was going to be, who is your starter at that point? Like who were your starters out of, like, let's say, like Gen 1, Gen 4, and like Diamond and Pearl? Like,
so my starters in general was always a water type. I was always water kind of guy, and so Squirtle for Gen 1.
I feel you on that one. I always pick Squirtle.
Squirtle for Gen 1, Piplup for Gen 4, and I actually picked Piplup again the second time around for Brilliant Diamond, and then
gotcha.
I picked Mudkip too. Though even though you could even make an argument about Mudkip. Mudkip, Sceptile was all right. So like Blaziken is a badass, but
I
mean, come on, just to look at Blaziken, he definitely is like in my top like 20 all-time favorite Pokemon.
I always like the way that Combuskin sounds. I don't know why. Like, it's just one of the like more satisfying names to say. Like, just Combuskin.
And the way he looks, I mean, he just looks like a really evolved like Torchic. I mean, no play on words there, but like he really does. Like he literally looks like a chicken that's like popped out. And so like that was the problem I had with kind of like, I wasn't like Combuskin as a name, I agree with it, but like I wasn't really a big fan of how Combuskin looked. But Blaziken looks badass. So like to be fair, what I was looking for.
Yeah, to be fair, the designs from like earlier Pokemon games, like they did like a hell of a job on the Pokemon from like Gen 4 and backwards. I mean, some of the newer Pokemon like look fantastic, but you can definitely tell like they started to like shift in a way. Like it's definitely different. And some people will say for the better, some people will say for the worse. Some people will say like they ran out of ideas, but I mean, how many Pokemon are there? You know what I mean? It's like there's so many.
I see your point of it, and but I also agree with like I feel like they just kind of ran out of ideas, and they kind of got I don't want to say lazy with it, but they just kind of like they just simply I think ran out of ideas, and that actually even leads to, is there going to be a Gen 9? I really hope there is a Gen 9, because Pokemon should never die. I just don't care. Pokemon should go on forever.
That would be interesting.
Pokemon, it should never die. Pokemon Gen 9 should exist.
Do you have a favorite Pokemon then? Like, out of all the generations? Like, do you have, like, a singular one that you kind of go back to?
That is tough. But if I had to say my favorite Pokemon all time, would probably be Lucario.
Nice.
Yeah,
okay.
I always liked Lucario. I even liked him in Smash, too.
Yeah, I was going to say you probably play him in Smash.
A little bit, then. Yeah. Though there's a ton of characters in Smash that you can play, but he's pretty good, actually, in Smash, so I won't even...
He's a pretty good... He's a great pick for Smash. I think so. Like, and just in general, like, he's definitely a cool Pokemon.
Oh, yeah, he's badass, for sure. So that's also why I like him. Too.
Well, I would say that's a solid choice, my friend. So, it seems like, Drake, you know your stuff about Pokemon, but what I'd like to do right now is take a quick break to ask you some trivia on the series. Uh-oh. So, yeah, I know I told you about it before, but you didn't know when it was coming up. So, like, you're going to get multiple choice answers with only one of them being right, of course. But, I hope this tests your knowledge of the Pokemon franchise. And let's face it, there's a lot to know out there. It's a pretty huge franchise, but nonetheless, I think you can handle it. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah? You ready to get started on that?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Well, here is your question. So, the Pokemon franchise, of course, spans a significant number of games. Any Nintendo console you pick up is likely to have some kind of Pokemon game attached to it, but my question to you is, which platform does not have a game that is part of the Pokemon franchise? Is it A, GameCube, B, PC and Mac, or C, SNES, or Super Nintendo Entertainment System?
Ooh. This is a trick question.
Kind of, but,
Oh, man.
And I was hoping that you wouldn't get it right away because
this
you know what, I won't even get
this
super
is
into
definitely
it.
a trick question because I definitely know there's a game on GameCube, so that takes it out. But it's the PC Mac and it's the PC Mac and SNES. I'm trying to remember. Is there a Pokemon game on the SNES that I played?
The SNES.
I played the SNES as a kid, and I'm really trying to think if there was actually a Pokemon game. Though I don't know if there. Though, actually, technically, there is a game on Pokemon or on PC. It's called Emulator. So I'm actually gonna go. No, I'm gonna go with SNES. Final answer.
Final answer C.
Yep, final answer C.
Well, my friend, you would be correct. The correct answer is indeed C, SNES. Not for the reasons that you would think, though, but there are actually a few, very small number of Pokemon cameos to be had on the system. The first official Pokemon game came out on the Game Boy, as we previously discussed, but in Japan, the SNES is known as the Super Famicom, and with it had a series of games by the name of Picross NP, and in Picross, for those of you that don't know, you fill in and erase squares to reveal specific pictures, and in its first volume, the puzzles are based off of Pokemon.
Oh, wow.
So that's the only real instance of Pokemon you'll find on the SNES. I mean, I'm sure there's something else out there, but that is one of the more notable ones.
I have to tell you, I don't even think I knew that. So I learned something.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. So I'll be completely transparent. But something else I didn't know. Did you know Famicom is short for Family Computer? I feel like that's kind of common knowledge, but I didn't even know that.
Now that you say that, it all makes sense.
Exactly. I was like, where'd they get Famicom from? Mm-hmm. But yeah, the Japanese, they love to shorten words to just whatever their first few syllables are. So when you put the two together, it absolutely makes sense. But my next question is, do you know what games are on the GameCube and PC?
Well, all the PC, I would say all the emulators. But I don't think that that's actually right. But
yes, you are correct. But the actual official game that you can get is the Pokemon trading card game.
Oh,
yeah.
Dang it, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, so you can have that one on PC. It's also on iOS and Android, along with
Pokemon Go.
Yeah, along with Pokemon Go and Pokemon Unite, which is the MOBA game that they released. I don't know if you know anything about that.
I actually don't, but I don't even know if I'm intrigued. A MOBA game by Pokemon? What?
Yeah, it plays pretty much like League of Legends, but with Pokemon. So again, a genre I'm completely just goes completely over my head, but it is popular, and I was gonna include iOS and Android on this list, but I figured since you were knee deep into Pokemon Go, you would have gotten that right away.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we talk about Pokemon Go for a second? Because
we can, absolutely.
I remember when this game first released, and I don't know if you played. Did you play Pokemon Go?
Not a single second of it, and I feel like I did it out of spite, to be honest, because I saw how popular it was. And to be fair, I wouldn't consider myself a Pokemon fan. But I appreciate the series, but Pokemon Go, I actively refused. I was like, no, I don't want to do it. And I don't know why, but it was just one of those things, I guess.
I'll tell you this right now, you would not be alone. And the reason being is because, so I remember when this game first released, and I was so excited for it, because I'm like, wow, Pokemon Go. But, a game, I'm actually going to be able to play it on my phone. I mean, I'm going to be able to find Pokemon in my area. That's crazy. But then when I actually played the game, it was good. I enjoyed it. But I'm like, I don't know if this was actually what I expected it to be. I think I expected Pokemon Go. I think I had higher expectations for Pokemon Go, and it was just a huge letdown. And it just didn't feel... To me, it didn't feel like
everyone assumed that it was going to be, you walk around, you catch Pokemon, and then you battle each other. That was the big consensus that everyone thought it was going to be. But and they kind of advertised it that way too. To be completely fair, they were like, oh yeah, meet up with other trainers. And
I remember
something.
I remember going to. I don't mean to give off location, but I remember going to a church in our hometown, and there was a gym battle there, or it was a gym leader or something. I remember like going there like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, and facing this gym. I think it was a gym leader. Was it a gym leader? Is that how they? It's been so long.
I don't know.
It's been so long since I've played Pokemon Go that I just remember like to be able to evolve your Pokemon, you had to go to certain areas in your hometown or like in your area.
Yeah,
to be able to evolve your Pokemon. A big
component was like going places, like physically.
you had to drive, and that was one thing I also didn't like about it too, because it kind of like, I mean, you know, they preach no driving, like driving while texting too, like that's bad. So like this,
like you don't want to be looking at your phone while you're getting around. And
trust me, let me tell you, I don't drive and text, but you know, I was playing. I will admit, I was playing Pokemon Go. I was trying to find.
Everyone made an exception. Those
I remember
few months.
I remember going. I was trying to find this one Pokemon because it was there, and I remember driving all the way up to the old, and I still didn't get the goddamn Pokemon because it fleed.
Oh man,
I can't remember what it was. It was like one of my favorite Pokemons too. It'll come to me probably after you know the show and everything, but
maybe.
I just remember wanting to catch that Pokemon so bad because it was one of my favorite Pokemons. But you know, I was kind of let down by Pokemon Go as a whole. You know, I think I played it for like a month and I was over it. And
yeah, I understand.
I know our friend group kind of got into it. Like a couple of them still got into it. I think they even went to that fair that one time, and I'm like, yeah.
Some of them still play it. Yeah.
I don't.
It was like a recent event that was happening with it too. Like for whatever reason, it's becoming popular again. No, I completely understand. Yeah, it is a unique experience when it comes to Pokemon games. Like that one is definitely really cool. But yeah, on GameCube there was Pokemon Colosseum, and I mean there were two others. I don't really remember what they are exactly. But the other big one was Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, and that's one that not a lot of people really have a ton of experience with, and I wanted to see if you knew anything about it.
No, I don't, honestly. I never really played, so I actually don't even... if I remember, I don't even think I remember owning a GameCube at all. But
I didn't either.
No.
I never had one.
So I don't think I ever played XD Gale of Darkness, so I don't really know much about it. I think I do remember playing... Like, I do remember obviously playing Pokemon Colosseum, because I think I had a couple buddies at the time.
Some people have never even heard of it, so you know.
Oh no, I definitely heard of it. I just never played it, and I know it's part of the franchise, but I was always into the handheld Pokemon games, the storyline ones.
Yeah,
so
I feel like most people were, because I mean that was its home for a while, you know. And now you have the Switch, which effectively acts as both. Like you have it. You know, you can either have it plugged into the TV or you can take it wherever you want, which leads back into what you were talking about earlier. You started to go off on a rant with Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee.
Yes.
Yeah. What's that all about?
So let's talk about Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu. So I'm going to tell you one thing. I returned this game.
Oh man!
And the reason why I returned the game was because it felt so childish to me. I felt like yeah, I want to feel like I'm a kid again all over again, but not in a game. I want to feel like a child in other ways. So like
in the gameplay, you mean?
The gameplay was so dumbed down that I feel like it was developed for children of this generation. It wasn't made for our generation, you and I, and all the other people who played and started when we started. And
yeah,
I remember returning the game. I mean, I got a better game out of it. It was Super Smash Brothers. So I mean, I got a better game out of it, but I just remember being so disappointed. I was so excited for it. I'm like, man, Let's Go Eevee. I got Let's Go Eevee, and I was going to.
There's finally a Pokemon game on home or on Switch.
Yeah, because
I think that was the first one.
It was because it was before Shield and Sword, which I didn't finish. I did play a little bit of it.
Yeah,
and Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So yeah, it was the first Pokemon game on Switch, and I was so excited. I'm like, finally a Pokemon game on Switch. Connected to my TV, and I was so disappointed. I think I played like an hour of it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm done. Like, this isn't beneficiary at all to me. And I feel like you kind of had to play Pokemon Go to have that experience with Pokemon Let's Go, and I really didn't get into Pokemon Go. So since I didn't get into Pokemon Go, I did not get into Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. I think it has.
I was gonna say I think it was the shtick, like you play what is effectively Pokemon Go for the Switch, and like that could be like ridiculously underselling it, but there might be more to it than I actually think. But that was my understanding of it, because I mean, it's in the title, and I saw a little bit of the gameplay. You're still doing like, you're swiping the ball and throwing it at the Pokemon kind of thing.
And I even bought the Pokeball too. Like there was a Pokeball that came out. I bought the handheld Pokeball, and I didn't even like that. Like I liked it at first, and then I like started to use it, and I'm like, no, I don't like this at all.
Oh man.
So I was let's just say I was severely disappointed with that game. And yeah, I mean, as you can see, I returned it because you were just really not vibing.
I was
not. No, and I mean, I got a better game out of it because shortly before it came out, like I got it on its release date, and then Ultimate came out December 7th of 19. So then I got shortly after that.
I have no idea.
I think that's the exact date. I'm really good with dates, but I remember Ultimate coming out, and I'm like, I'll just return this game and get Ultimate instead, and that's what I did, and so it worked out.
I looked up a little bit about Smash Bros. Ultimate. Turns out that Smash Bros. Ultimate is the best-selling fighting game of all time.
I actually believe it. I really do. I mean, that game was, even though I really don't play much of it, I really should, but I mean, that whole franchise in general, it just,
dude.
I mean, going all the way back to Melee,
it's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites, if not my favorite franchise.
Absolutely. I mean, going all the way back to Melee, I mean, just, and you were only limited to so many characters. Now with Ultimate, I mean, you have a lot of characters in the book, and even with the DLCs too. You're getting characters from all types of genres, and just
yeah, dude.
The fact.
Have you played any of the DLC characters in Ultimate?
I think I might have played.
Or did you not buy it?
I think I might have played Piranha Plant.
Oh, okay.
He was part of DLC, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was the first one.
Yeah, and then I think I played. Who was the second one?
It was actually Joker from Persona 5.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I also bought Joker, too.
Oh, you did?
And
okay.
Then, I did buy Joker. And then, who was the third one?
Third one after that was Hero from Dragon Quest, I believe.
No, I did not. I think I stopped after Joker.
Yeah,
is what it was.
There were a bunch of them. I think there was like 5 or 6 for the first pass, and then the second pass had like one extra one.
Did Waluigi ever make it?
No, he did not. But to be honest, I feel like the characters they did pick well deserved it. They made Smash into, I mean, they added Sora, which is my number one pick that I did not think was happening, because they already added Cloud and Sephiroth, and I'm like, okay, I guess that means no Sora because Final Fantasy and all that. But
I was gonna say
they still got him. They still got my boy, and I was so hyped. But yeah, let's go ahead and stop there with the Pokemon discussion. Not like you really have to. I'm sure you could keep going forever, but the things that I want to talk about is gaming news related to the games that we're talking about. So going back a bit far, jumping back into Dead Space, I think the obvious bit of news to mention here is that back in July of 2021, EA announced that Dead Space is actually getting a remake. I don't know if you knew anything about that.
So I actually did. I looked into it a little bit, and I'm kind of excited, though. Here's the thing, because I said it earlier about EA. I am kind of worried because if it's produced by EA and not Visceral Games, worries me.
Well,
because they ruin everything.
Well, I do want to get into this. Like we'll definitely have the opportunity to go into like what we think about it.
Okay.
They even did a full 40-minute live stream that you can watch on YouTube right now. You know, it goes into detail about what to expect from the game visually, as well as, you know, very small glimpses into the production side of things. I mean, when they announced everything, they made sure to be clear about the fact that, you know, everything they're showing and saying is in very early access, but it's rumored to have a release date aiming like late 2022. So that would be nice. But again, you know, EA has not confirmed anything. Initially, though, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell what they meant by remake, but it turns out that it's going to be a completely reimagined version of the original Dead Space game being built completely from the ground up. Like, it's not a remaster because there's new story elements and updated models and even new dismemberment gameplay, but it's not a reboot because it's heavily based on the original game's like core themes and like the story and everything. So like based on what I've seen, it looks like they're doing both, but they're retaining a lot of what made Dead Space great while also using brand new assets. Like they've got the original voice actor coming back. They seem very passionate about making it right. You know, like I guess I just want to hear what you have to say about it, Drake. Like you mentioned a little bit about EA, but what can you tell us?
So, needless to say, we'll push everything aside. I am excited about the remake, and actually, it gets me excited because I haven't played Dead Space in probably like 9 years or 10 years.
Yeah,
and the fact to play a remake of it, even though it's not exactly like a remaster version, but it's a remake overall. I actually am kind of excited about it, even though it is going to be developed by EA, which I think developed Dead Space 3 or had too many hands in the pot for Dead Space 3.
No, I completely understand. Like
something tells me EA is gonna somehow find a way to mess this up.
Yeah, like I really hope that's not the case, but
I hope not either.
They did go out of their way to say that the game is not going to include microtransactions, and it may reuse content that was actually cut from the original game, while also removing like some aspects that were criticized in the original game. So, like, it's going to be the same game effectively, but it's going to have like a lot of its own like basically. The devs, they're aiming to do more with the game than they could have back in 2008, and mostly that's to do with like hardware limitations and stuff, but like there was a lot of content they had to cut. You know, there was a lot of like stuff that they wanted to do but they couldn't for whatever reason, you know, and it sounds like that they want to bring that in. So, you know, like it's impossible to ignore that it's EA still doing it, like, and after the whole disaster that was like Star Wars Battlefront, like, oh God. my bar is set pretty low, but my excitement is still really high. Like if it's good, I will be very happy, but I'm not going to assume that it's going to be good. And I'm sure you feel the same way.
I have high expectations for it.
Yeah.
But I also wouldn't be surprised just based off of everything that has happened with EA.
Yeah.
You know, I have an excitement for it, and I would definitely will probably play it, but again, I just won't be surprised if I'm disappointed. But,
my philosophy with a lot of games lately is like I very, very rarely pre-order games unless like I absolutely know that I was gonna buy it anyways. Like when it comes to games like this, I generally want to see like what the reception is, and then like sometimes like the price even jumps down, you know, like $60 is pretty expensive for a lot of people, and it's insane. You don't want to blow it all on a pre-order that you're not liking, and then, you know, you have to go hassle a store employee to return it, or, you know, God forbid you buy a digital copy, you're never getting that money back, you know. So like
I know I mean, it's insane, honestly. And I normally don't pre-order a lot of games, but
yeah,
I do with a few, and we'll get into one of the games I actually recently pre-ordered. So
yeah, I can probably guess which one it is, but yeah, we'll get there when we get there, you know.
Absolutely.
But at the very least, I mean, you're at least going to get it on PC, so you will have the option to play Dead Space on PC. With like
through Steam too.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure it will be, at least in some capacity, but
Better be.
you know, when you have it on PC, you know, with the updated graphics and like everything that they wanted to include that they couldn't previously, like normally that sounds like great news, but unfortunately for people like myself, the development is being reserved for next gen consoles only. So like consoles like PS5 and the new Xbox, like unfortunately, if I want to get into it, I'll have to wait until I eventually get a PS5 or whatever it might be by then. But at least they are using the console's full potential to really do what they wanted to do with this game, if so much is true. But, you know, whenever you look at the interview and you listen to like what these guys are talking about, they do sound pretty passionate about what they're doing. So it sounds promising, but yeah, I don't know.
Did they I want to ask, did they talk about bringing it to the Switch? Because I mean, that's kind of a new gen console.
I mean,
or even the Steam Deck.
Well, the Steam Deck, yeah. If it is on Steam, like pretty much the consensus is if it's on Steam, then it can be played on the Steam Deck. But some games are like specially optimized for the Steam Deck.
Okay.
I don't know if Dead Space will be, but
yeah,
that's not to say that it won't be, because you know we still got probably a year until then.
Yeah, probably, honestly. And I was reading that not every game can be played on the Steam Deck either.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
That's more of what I was asking.
I mean, it is
so.
like Dead Space is a pretty it's a pretty primitive. I shouldn't say primitive, but it's like a pretty straightforward third person shooter experience. I mean, I don't know how much they plan on adding to this, like realistically, but like if it turns out that like it can't be run, like, you know, you mentioned the Switch earlier, like the Switch, even though it's a new gen console, or I guess technically like it's our current gen console, the system has been out for like 4 years now, 5 years,
5 years,
and it was never close to even what the PlayStation 4 could do. And you know, PlayStation 4 came out with the Pro. You know, they have all the other versions of it. The Switch only just recently got its OLED, and the OLED does not do anything differently aside from the screen. And I mean, you got the kickstand, but I'm talking like internals, you know. So
I have a kickstand on my regular Switch.
Exactly. Well, this one spans the whole console, so it's not just a little nub anymore. It's like it goes across the entire thing, which is how it should have been at the beginning. But
yeah,
you know, I digress. You know, what a lot of companies have been doing with new consoles, or with new games on Nintendo Switches, they've been doing cloud versions. And I don't really know how I feel about cloud versions, because you have to have an internet connection in order to play them. And it's like the games are not technically being run natively. Like it's like you have the game and you have like parts of it installed, but in order to have it run at full capacity, you need to be connected to the internet at all times. And it's a good way to get games that you wouldn't normally be able to on Switch. But I don't know. Like, do you know anything about that? Like, is that something you have experience with?
Well, the thing with the Switches is, yeah, you can play it on the go, but you don't always have internet connection either. So
no, yeah, exactly. So it's like if you want to play a cloud game, you have to play it at home, basically.
You'd have to play it at home, yeah. And so like that wouldn't even be beneficial to somebody who would want to play it on the go. Like I know I love taking my Switch everywhere I go. And I love playing it on the go. Like that's the whole point of having a Switch. And you know, if I don't really know much about it, no, but if I can't, like, if I have to go through a cloud and I have to have internet access, then I can't play it on the go.
You might as well just get it on PC at that point.
Might as well just get it on PC. Yep.
Yeah, so. But they're not saying anything about it being on Switch. It's definitely. I mean, it's a possibility, but I wouldn't count on it, especially if they're not even going to include like the PlayStation 4 and all that. You know, they're probably not going to even take it into consideration. So,
probably not.
You know, the thing that I find really weird though is that EA is deciding to revive a franchise that it effectively murdered. So
it did.
Like, like, for those of you that are not aware, after the release of Dead Space 3, EA shut down Visceral Studios. So those were the guys that were behind the franchise, and that was back in 2017. So, the fact that they're bringing the franchise back after doing something like that, it's definitely odd. Like of all the things you could have done, I don't know.
That's why I think that EA developed, like, even though they say Visceral Games developed Dead Space 3, I don't know. I really think EA had too many hands in the pot, and I think that they took too much in charge, and they were developing Dead Space 3, and they didn't want to make, like, it was kind of like an undercover kind of thing. They wanted to keep Visceral Games in business until Dead Space 3 was released. This is probably a conspiracy theory, but honestly, but they wanted to keep that, Visceral Games in business until it was released, and then once it was released, then they shut them down. So it's like, kind of fishy there, don't you think? I don't know.
No, I mean, it's a very valid assumption, I think, and EA has already proven that they can be kind of scummy with their practices, like especially like with the loot boxes and everything. But exactly. Like if what they're saying is true, you're not having any microtransactions in this new game, then just because a game doesn't have microtransactions doesn't mean that it's automatically good, but it is a good step in the right direction. Some people are actually upset about this choice. Like, of course you got the fans that are really excited about the game coming back, but some people are just, they're against EA, so they're claiming that, they're just hoarding the IP, like they're making it like they're trying to make money off of like this franchise that they disrespected.
That's what it is.
But honestly, I can't really complain too much. Just because like I'm really excited to be able to play Dead Space again, whenever that may be. I can't even find my PS3 anymore, so it's like even if I really wanted to play it, I would have to jump through hoops to get to it. So I would rather just wait until the remake comes out.
Play it on PC. You'll be better.
Yeah. I mean, now that you mention it, I might be able to get away with the first game on PC. But like I'm running a gaming laptop, so like I don't know if I would be able to really handle the new game on here. But the old games, maybe. I probably could realistically. So, I don't know if you've heard this or not, but the running joke right now is that EA is the one doing the real necromancy around here. Like they're the ones bringing the dead back to life. Like
it's a nice pun. It's a nice pun.
It's really fitting, honestly. But talking about like Visceral Studios and that being shut down and everything. Some like a silver lining about this whole thing was that the series co-creator, Glenn Schofield or Schofield, I'm not 100% sure on the pronunciation, but he and his team have gone on to create a new third-person survival horror game, and that game is called the Callisto Protocol, which is being developed by his own studio, and the studio's name is Striking Distance Studios, and it's scheduled. This one does actually have like a release period in time. And this one is scheduled for a release in late 2022. So,
I actually looked this up. It's part of the PUBG universe, which is kind of intriguing.
It's crazy. Yeah,
I never played PUBG, but I've heard a lot about it.
So the reasoning behind that, and this gets kind of convoluted, but basically, Striking Distance is under the same umbrella as PUBG Studios or PUBG Corporation. So, like, there is one company that owns both of them, and I don't remember exactly who it is, but they effectively gave Mr. Schofield all of this money to make this game happen and to kind of like create it in his own vision, where like he used to work for Activision and he worked on a couple of the Call of Duty games, and like probably was the reason behind like some of the really cool like plot points in that game.
I think I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name, but I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, so both the companies are under that umbrella, and I guess the agreement was, you can do whatever you want with this franchise, but you got to make it a part of the PUBG universe. And I feel like that's a pretty easy fix. You just to make it take place several centuries in the future, and then it's the same universe, like whatever. But regardless of what the universe is, it still looks like a really cool game. Like if you watch the trailer, like this shit looks spooky. Like I'll tell you right now, like even the cinematic trailer alone like kind of put me on edge, just because like how creepy it seems. And I know you can only do so much with a cinematic trailer. Like, they don't have any gameplay out yet, as far as I know. But if they go in the right direction, and they go in the direction that, you know, the original Dead Space was, and like Dead Space 2, I feel like they have something really good on their hands.
Yes, I agree. If they go in that direction, especially the Dead Space 1, yes, they'll be in good hands, because Dead Space 1 was almost a masterpiece, especially at 2008. You know, for
the time, yeah.
Yes, at the time, and it had great graphics for being, I think it was advanced in 2008. So,
well, the team that Glenn Schofield has with Striking Distance, like, it has over 70 members. So, like, you got enough people working on the game in order to actually make, like, you know, a AAA title. Ultimately, they plan on actually making it bigger than the games have to offer, because they've actually partnered with Skybound Entertainment, and those are the guys that are behind The Walking Dead. So It sounds like they want to make this into a multimedia franchise as well. So, like, beyond just, you know, like EA is going to release Dead Space, like, that's cool. But we have this whole entire project, like the Callisto Protocol, that has the potential to be like one of the next biggest like names in horror, effectively. And you know, I have high hopes for it. Like, considering the track record that these guys have, and their I mean, their claims, they say they're aiming to make the scariest game available on next-gen consoles. Like, I definitely have high hopes for the series, and I'm definitely interested in checking it out.
I could not agree more.
Yeah. The unfortunate case is we only know as much as we do right now. Like, the Dead Space team reportedly doesn't have any former team members working on it, nor do we have a confirmed release date for it. So my eye will effectively be on both of these. You know, and seeing which one comes out first, you know, regardless, I'm going to be excited for both of them. But yeah, well, I can only hope for the best when it comes to Dead Space.
One of the best franchises ever, besides the third game.
Well, before we get to the third game, let's talk about a little bit about RuneScape.
Yes, please.
News. Unfortunately, you know, there's not much in the way of super notable RuneScape news. Like, I think the most relevant news will be for the people that play the game. You know, as like we mentioned earlier, it's constantly being updated and getting new things added to it. And this is to like all of the versions, both the new ones like RuneScape 3 and the old versions like 07. You know, like, there's constantly stuff being put out. But one piece of news that's making the rounds right now, and that there's going to be 2 different tabletop games that are being made, and they're getting set in the RuneScape universe. So, the RuneScape, yeah.
Is it like going to be like a card game?
So the 2 different ones, the RuneScape, it's a board game, and it's going to be playable by like between 1 and 5 players, and you're going to have quest-based campaigns through, you know, just through Gielinor, and in reference to like what they actually have to say for it, the players will craft and update equipment, upskill their characters, cook special recipes, engage with NPCs, and test their new skills while exploring different regions of the world, with a variety of enticing side quests to distract and entertain them on the way. So, I mean,
is it almost like kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of feel to it?
Well,
or
that's
am I completely off?
No, you're on the right track. Like, the board game itself, like, is like it's going to be a board game, you know. But this
is kind of like how Dungeons and Dragons is, even though it's not really a. I don't know. It's
the second game is actually more what you're talking about. So it's going to be like a tabletop RPG, and it's also going to it's going to be like a hardback book that contains the rules for the players to run like a RuneScape tabletop role playing game. And Jagex, they say the book is also fully compatible with the 5th edition rule set of D&D. So, you know, that much. Okay. Yeah, that much is going to be like, if you're into Dungeons and Dragons and you also like your RuneScape. I mean, I feel like there's a pretty big overlap between the two. So
they definitely have their similarities. That's actually pretty cool. I didn't even know about that. So
yeah,
that's interesting. Huh.
And, you know, ultimately, like, if there was a universe that you could pick for a board game or anything like that, I feel like that's a really good universe to choose. Especially because of the the legacy that the game series has left behind. Having something physical is at this point kind of a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, RuneScape has built a following for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
That. And I feel like there's still people who get really excited about these kind of things. Even me. I mean, even though I'm kind of off and on about it, I'm like, I might have to kind of check out this board game.
Yeah,
so
I was gonna say, like,
do
you think? Yeah, you're gonna look into it. Probably pick one up.
I think I might actually, depending on where they sell it. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna look into it. I mean, I don't know how many people I would actually get into it, but
yeah,
I'll definitely look into it.
Well, I mean, so, to be like still on the topic, kind of. One of our friends made a point to ask me if we'd ever possibly cover tabletop games on this show, and to be honest, I mean, like, I'm not super familiar with tabletop games, like board games and anything like along that field. But if I had someone knowledgeable enough to be like with me on the subject, I could make that happen, realistically, Like, there are good games out there, and video games and board games, they kind of have an overlap, if you ask me, and I don't know. Like, I guess anyone listening to the podcast, like, what do you think? If you want to leave a comment telling me, like, you think it'd be a good idea, definitely do so. I don't know what your thoughts are about that, Drake, but
I actually probably be one of your hosts.
Yeah. Maybe we can all get together, play like some kind of game.
Heck yeah,
or something like for an
fun.
episode.
That'd
be interesting. Yeah,
get the friend group going. I already know. You, me, Aaron, and Connor. That'd be us four.
Yeah, I could see it, definitely.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, Connor was the one that brought it up. So
I figured.
Yeah. He also really likes his chess, but I don't know how exciting we can make that on a podcast episode.
I love my chess. Yeah. I'm right there with them. We played a chess game.
Well, I mean, it's a good idea for now, but we'll keep it on the back burner. Again, if that sounds interesting, definitely let me know. But moving on from RuneScape, again, because there's not really a ton in the ways of news, we're going on to Pokemon. And now, I think the biggest piece of news to point out right now, of course, the time that we're filming at right now, Pokemon Legends Arceus has not come out yet. But by the time this episode comes out, the game will have come out. Drake, you mentioned to me before recording this podcast that you had the game pre-ordered, and on the subject of pre-ordering that we were talking about earlier, is this tell me about it, man. Like, are you like, I can only assume you're excited.
You want to know the last game I pre-ordered?
What's that?
Skyrim. It was like 11 years ago.
Oh man.
I don't even think I don't even think I pre-ordered any of the Pokemon game, like even any of the like the Pokemon remakes. I mean,
you didn't have a chance for Diamond and Pearl, but
no, I definitely did not. Yeah. But like, I'm telling you, I'm almost positive Skyrim, Elder Scrolls Skyrim was the last game I pre-ordered, which was like 11 years ago. So if that tells you anything about pre-ordering, I'm not pretty good at it. But when I found out about Pokemon Legends Arceus, I really looked into it. I'm like, okay, I'm kind of curious about this. I kind of want to see how it's all about.
It just means you know what you like.
Yeah. And
you're not so swayed by the marketing and the capitalism behind it.
No, absolutely not. No, thanks, Adam Smith. No, I really looked into it. I watched a couple YouTube videos about it, and it almost made me feel like I was like I was playing Breath of the Wild all over again. Like,
yeah,
you kind of got me. Like, you got me into that game. I bought it. I bought a Switch and I bought that game, but like, you really like kind of like explained to me all about Breath of the Wild and like how great it was, and then I was like, okay, so I'll give this game a chance. And
it's like you already had it, so I'm like, you gotta play it.
I already had it, but I was like kind of wary about it because I played Link to a Link to the Past, which was like in like 8-bit like 2D version. So it was different, and it wasn't open world. I mean, Legend of Zelda, if anyone knows anything about the Zelda series, it's really not like Breath of the Wild was the first open world game of the series. So
yes, that's true.
You know, it was kind of their first take in an open world series, which is exactly how I feel about the Legends of Arceus. The Pokemon franchise has never done an open world game. And so this is their first take on it. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. If it's anything like Breath of the Wild, I'll love it.
And you know, I want to agree with you. Like, I want to say, like, yeah, like, this is going to be like Breath of the Wild. But, you know, realistically, like, just
is that
at,
possible?
like,
Probably not.
Looking at the formula, the formula for Pokemon games is that, like, I don't want to say it's linear because, like, you know, I love the idea of having an open world Pokemon game, but I feel like Pokemon is kind of already pretty open world. Like, I mean, like, you go to the different, you're going on an adventure, you go to all sorts of towns and collect Pokemon from each town. Like the new catching mechanic is kind of neat, but I don't know. The console games have come across as, like, some people would say lazy. Other people might say, like, they just didn't utilize the console to its fullest potential. So, like Arceus, like, could be that kind of game changer. Like, it could be that new expansive open world experience. And you know, we can only hope. I mean, people listening to this might be laughing right now. Like if it's, like, really bad or, like, really good, like, whatever it might be.
We'll never know. But you know what? I'm probably going to play it tomorrow whenever I get home from work. I might actually even start playing it after this podcast. We'll see. But
maybe. Do they do that for digital releases? Like, is it, like, midnight, like, you can start playing the game kind of thing?
Well, I already have the game on my Switch. It already downloaded and everything. And I actually tried to... So I tried to play it because, again, I never pre-ordered anything on my Switch, so I don't really know how this works. So I went to go play it, and it was like, you can't play this game. Go visit the Nintendo eShop. I'm like, so then why is it downloaded already on my Switch? Like, why would they tease me like this?
Yeah.
I wanted to play the game a couple days earlier, but no. So, I mean, I don't know. I'll try and boot it up whenever I...
No, you'll definitely have to wait until the actual release date, but I'm not sure if it's actually, like, if it crosses over at midnight, but you'll know after this podcast is recorded.
Absolutely. But,
you know, like, going back to what I was saying, like, in general, I just feel like Pokemon fans they're one of those that can get, like, really upset about the smallest things.
I agree.
Like, you got Animal Crossing fans that'll be like, guys, you could build a bridge. Oh my god. And then Pokemon fans will be like, oh my god, how dare they reuse assets from a 3DS game? Oh, my precious Switch console. Like,
I could not agree anymore. I'm already reading, like, comments over like social media that are, like, already bashing, like, Pokemon Legends of Arceus. I'm like, you haven't even played the game yet. Like, let the game come out for, like, a week or two and then give your opinion and play the game. Like,
I agree. You can, like, there's no way to form a, like, actual opinion.
No,
like,
not absolutely
like,
not.
within, like, the first hour of gameplay. Like, that's like watching the first episode of a TV show and being like, yeah,
this sucks.
That's all yeah. This is my opinion, my fully fleshed out opinion. Like, you can't make assumptions that early.
No, not at all. And you have to, I mean, that goes for any game series out there. You have to fully play at least a quarter game or half of the game to be able to fully, like, get the grasp of how the game is. I mean, that's how that's going back. That's how I felt about Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu. I played about a quarter of it and I was over it. I was done. I was like, I was like, I already know where this is going and I don't want any more of it. I said, I'm done with this. I'm returning the game.
But I feel like Arceus, like, it can't be that bad, you know.
Oh no,
like...
I do have high expectations of this game, and I think it's gonna be. There's gonna be you know, quirks and, you know, things that are probably, you know, either like bugs, you know, or that's
things that are, like, less than ideal, you know. Like,
things that probably, you know, shouldn't be there, or, you know. But
regardless, I mean. Regardless, I mean, you can still be excited about it, and even if there isn't that, you still got the Diamond and Pearl remake. Absolutely. And lots of my friends have been playing the crap out of that, and rightfully so. I mean, it seems like there's a huge demand for handheld only games to be put on consoles. Like, you know, like you didn't have a Wii U, but back in the days of Wii U,
I did have a Wii U actually.
Oh, you did? Really?
I did, yeah. I owned a Wii U for a little bit. I had I had Mario Kart on there, but I had another game on there that I really. No, I definitely did have a Wii. Yeah, because I traded in my Wii U for a Switch actually.
Huh.
I remember that. Yep.
Well, all right.
I just never played Breath of the Wild on it.
Right, yeah. Well, regardless, I mean, on Wii U, like, you could get virtual console games pretty easily, and, like, playing everything there from, like, old school consoles to even, like, DS games was pretty easy on Wii U. Like, you know, if people want to play handheld on Switch, like, they don't really have a luxury like that. Like, yeah, like, you can do, like, the whatever it's called, like Nintendo Switch Online, and you can play like NES games, but that's not what we're talking about. You know what I mean? Like people want to play like Game Boy Advance, DS. Like
I would love for those games to come to the Switch. I would love for those
of course
to come to the Switch because I have the NES, I have the SNES, and I have the N64 for the Switch. I have all three of those, and I enjoy all those. Like I really wish that the DS and those Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance games would come to the Switch. I think it'd be amazing.
Dude. And I'll tell you, like, there's thousands, like hundreds of thousands of people that agree with you on that topic. Like Nintendo is just like they know that people want these games, so it's like I feel like they're trying to come up with the best ways of doing it.
There's like to tease us. That's what it is.
Yeah, and it's like they only just released N64 games to be playable, but it's like an extra like $20 a month. So
Not
it's
even.
like,
is
it really worth it?
It's like an extra 40.
Yeah, and you know, like even if you want to play like the actual games themselves, like have you seen the price of getting like a DS game right now? Like at least like in the Pokemon franchise, like
it's insane.
You know, you're going to like the local game shops and they're asking like over $100 for Pokemon Black and White, like.
That's ridiculous.
Come on, man! Like, and I don't know. Maybe it's
and I thought $60 was a lot for a game. My goodness,
yeah.
Like it's and games that are $60 anymore is like why? Like why are they $60? Like it's just it's actually ridiculous why games are even the price that they are. Like especially Nintendo games. I mean I understand like Xbox and PlayStation and PC games. But Nintendo games, I feel like Nintendo's just going with the flow and saying, well, hey, you know, everybody else charges us $60, so we can too, because they're gonna pay for it and they'll buy it. And that's not right. That's not how it should be, you know? So
there's a whole conversation to be opened up about that. But the things that I want to touch on are like to be completely fair, there's like huge teams behind these games, like making these like back in like 20, 30 years ago, like you couldn't even imagine like a game on this level like that we're producing nowadays, you know. And back then, like like a Atari game or like an SNES game, like they were also Sega like Genesis. $60. Yeah, like they were also $60. And like you adjust for inflation, that's well over $100, like possibly even more.
$60 back then was like a lot of money though too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, and like Video Game Donkey, he actually has a really good video talking about the cost of games like going forward, and it's like one of the things he touches on is like back like the price for games has stayed relatively consistent, but it has not stayed the same for like their value, so to speak. So like they still stuck with like the $60 price range, even though $60 back then was significantly more than it is now. Like nowadays people are actually like they like for PS5 and like the new Xbox, they're trying to bump the price up actually to like $70.
Jesus, why?
Yeah, and it's like I like part of me is like god damn it, but like the other side is like I get it. But then at the same time you look at but at the same time you look at like indie games are like, you know, you can get a Hollow Knight for like $20, and that game is huge. Like all these games that are being produced by these small teams, like not only are they cheaper than $60, but there's so much like more to it that you can buy all this like merchandise, you can listen to the soundtracks on Spotify. Like there's so many things that go into an indie game that just like these AAA titles, like the companies, they don't put as much love into them as they do with indie games. And like, again, like this is a whole conversation that can be had about it, but yeah, it's just one of those things, really. Like, you know, you pay for what you get, but who are we to dictate what the price is? You know, it all comes down to what they feel is it's worth. You know, and going, you know, Pokemon, like they're pushing like hundreds of dollars for these DS games, and I mean, to me, like not really being like a huge Pokemon fan, like. It's technically considered a JRPG. Like you play Pokemon, and it's a turn-based JRPG. Like you could pay that much for like a game that plays for like children, you know, or you can play something like Persona 5, and
Good
that
game. Great game.
Yeah, I hope you can get around to finishing it someday.
You. Yeah. I know, right? I really should.
Yeah, I hope you can get around to it, because like nowadays you can get the regular version for like $15, and like the royal version, which is like the definitive kind of version, that one's like on sale. I sometimes see it like $30-$40, and that's also a AAA title, you know. So why are we spending so much on Pokemon? That's what I want to know. Like, man,
it is. No, I agree with that 100%. Especially like a Pokemon game. It shouldn't be. I remember paying $30, which I thought even was still expensive. $30-$40 for like Pokemon Diamond and Pearl and XY and Black and White, and I'm like, and then it goes on a Switch, and now it's $60. It's like, no, these games should be like $40, if not $20, like $20 on the DS and $40 on the Switch. Like, it's only because they know they can do it. That's what it comes down to.
No, you're right, and like that's a really huge conversation to have, because there's so many factors that go into price, and like some people, you know, like $60 is like a third of their paycheck, but like other people, it's like, pocket, you know, change. they'll buy a console every weekend, you know what I mean?
Yeah, pocket change.
So like, yeah, it's just it really depends who you're talking to, I guess. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. Like moving on from like those titles, like I know you mentioned Pokemon Go, like the popularity from Pokemon Go, like it seems like it's still, I wouldn't say full swing, but they're still pushing out events and all those things. Like, again, I don't really know anything about Pokemon Go to be completely transparent, but it seems like, you know, it's still really popular, and like you're not playing it anymore, or
no.
Like, what's that all about?
No, I lost touch with it pretty much like a month or 2 months after it was released. I mean, I will admit I played it for pretty much every day ever since it got released, and then a month or two after it got released, I just lost. I don't know, like I lost interest. Like I didn't think it was. I didn't like it. I just didn't really like the concept of it. I didn't like, you know, I thought the whole driving thing again was like unsafe. You know, but even walking around, I felt like it wasn't even easy to catch like Pokemon, like in Pokemon Go. I don't know. I just didn't.
Yeah, you definitely had to work for it.
Yeah, it wasn't but though that's also what kind of worries me about Pokemon Legends of Arceus. I feel like that's going to be the same way. Is it's going to be more about skill than it is going to be about like handed to you, which is nice. You know, I mean, I think that is a good aspect to the game. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I can't pinpoint an exact reason why I don't play Pokemon Go anymore. I think I might have just lost. I just lost interest in it, and I think I mean,
you know, it could be a trend like anything else, or like a fad, or whatever you want to call it. You know,
could be
like things. People just lose interest over time. That's just how it is, and at least like the people that are into it, they can still enjoy it to like what I assume is the fullest extent. You know, there's still like events and things being promoted for it, so you know, there's still a demand for it. And speaking of like trends and things like that. Like we touched on Pokemon Unite a little bit, and like right now there's been like a drastic balancing issue with players because, you know, like kids and adults, they can both play it and they can play against each other. So it's like you got all the Poke nerds taking it super seriously while little Timmy gets his ass kicked every time he joins because he has no idea what's going on. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of funny, and like a lot of YouTubers are taking advantage of this trend, you know, but like, do you think it's a trend or is it just like another fad that's going to like die out kind of thing?
I think it's probably just be another fad that's going to die out.
Yeah.
I haven't played Pokemon Unite. I don't really know much about it. Again, I play, when it comes to Pokemon, I play the handheld games, and I don't really get much into besides like Pokken Tournament, and even, I do remember that one Pokemon game actually on Wii. It was, funny enough, it had Dialga and Palkia on the game, or on the cover, and I can't remember what it was called, but that was like probably that and Coliseum were probably the only two games that I actually got into on Pokemon for, like, besides the handhelds. Those were the only two that I got into, like, console-wise. Going back to the question, I don't think that this is going to be per se, like, a thing that's going to be around for a while. I think it's just going to be, you're going to have your select few people that are going to play it.
Yeah.
But that's it.
And then, like, people will eventually just forget about it kind of thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. No, I mean, yeah, that's a completely fair assumption. Well,
it's the same with Pokemon Go too. I mean, like a lot of people still play it, but a lot of people also forgot about it too, or don't play it anymore. So
yeah.
I think.
Well, I mean, if you ever did want to try out Unite, it is free. So like free to play. You know, you download it, but then you can pay for just like random crap within the game, like So it's like you could still play it, you know, and give it a try. I don't know if I ever will, but yeah, it's on Switch, and I thought it was on PC, but it's actually not. It's mobile and Switch only, from my understanding. So
well, I guess I might have to check that out too.
Yeah, it could be worth a shot. I mean, you might actually end up liking it.
Never know.
But you know, considering that, you know, that style of gameplay goes completely over my head. And, you know, I'm just not like super into Pokemon to begin with. I have no real reason to check it out. Like maybe I will, but at the moment I'll stick with the games that I'm doing right now. Right now I'm actually getting through WarioWare. Which is
I know. I want to play
really
that.
fun.
I want to play that game so much. Badly.
It's so fun, dude.
It looks like it's so much fun. Oh my God.
And the gameplay is really unique for like the style that they went for. But you know, regardless, I'm having a lot of fun with it. And, well, I think that we should probably end it there now, Drake. I am ready to wrap things up. I got some editing to do, and, you know, just feel like stretching my legs a little bit. I've been sitting for a while, so I just want to say, man, thank you so much for joining me on this episode here. I would be happy to give you this chance to you know, plug any last minute promos for yourself, or, you know, social medias or channels, or, you know, you can just give a proper send off to the audience. Now's your time to do that, man.
So first, I would like to thank you so much, Addy, for having me on Saving Progress. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
And I really, really, really enjoyed this conversation that we had tonight. Check out at Docta Drake Does Drink. Addy will link that. If you want to check out my YouTube channel that I used to have for games, that's Docta Drake. And I
think the new channel is also Docta Drake, right?
Yes, there's a couple Docta Drakes actually.
Yeah, you'll find a bunch of them.
You'll be able to tell by the logo though. One will have like games, and one will have my face, and you'll be able to tell.
So you got and that's DOCTA, so Docta Drake for those of you that'll be looking. But you can also check the description, just to you know, make things easy for yourself.
Absolutely. And if there's one thing, you know, I want to send off for everybody, just remember, if you don't love your job, you shouldn't be doing it.
That's fair. Yeah, I had to teach myself that. Whenever I was working my retail jobs, I was like, I think I read something online. It was like, if you would rather like lay in bed all day and like call off and just like be miserable the rest of the day, like go find a new job, you know?
Exactly.
Exactly.
If you don't wake up every day and say, hey, I get to go to work with a smile on your face, you probably shouldn't be doing it then.
Yeah.
So,
at least make it tolerable. Make
exactly.
it something you can put up with. Don't make it something that you actively hate going into, because, you know, I could say you got limited time in the world, but realistically you got a lot of time in the world, like, and you don't want to spend all that time doing something you don't like. So
absolutely,
you know, well, with all that being said, I think that's a very insightful way to end things. That's pretty much everything we have to say. Again, Drake, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a blast, and I hope that you, the viewer, enjoyed the show. So if you have any questions you'd like us to answer, or, you know, you have some recommendations for the next episode, feel free to leave a comment down below, or message me on Instagram or Twitter at JumpHigherProd. That's JumpHigherProd. I hope to hear from you next time when we find someone that we want to dive deep into their experiences with video games and share their personal connections with us all. So thank you so much for listening, and bye for now.
Peace.
Hmm.